I believe that the majority of our church today that claims it, there are sincere believers that do not know what is coming, and God is waiting for somebody to get filled with His Spirit to waken up the sleeping giant in the Laodicean church. But before the rest can be waken up in its majority, as little and small portion as that will be, God must have a little company that are sighing and crying. You know, most people, they say, oh yes, I can sigh and cry, and they want to go in this church and start preaching. Is that what that means? Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud. More than simply preaching, those that are sighing and crying, their prayers are raising in behalf of the church for its condition. People want to run out and preach, but how many of us are praying? Not gossip praying. Do you know what's happening in the church? Drums are coming in here. This is coming in there. Can you believe the apostle? Oh, look what the leader did. Let's pray for them. Is that sighing and crying? Can we smile and laugh about apostasy when it broke the heart of Jesus? If we can smile at it, that means that we're not heart to heart with Christ. Those that receive the seal of God will sigh and cry, brothers and sisters. They will literally cry for the abominations that are going on, not just for others, but for the sins in their own lives. There will be an internal struggle. I saw some with strong faith and agonizing cries. They were pleading with God, fearful brothers and sisters. She says that great perspiration was upon their faces, and they were struggling with an internal struggle. What does internal mean? This happened just before the Sunday law. Just before the crisis. In other words, some things you study happen in the future. This is taking place now, and if it's not taking place in your heart, in your home, and your church, then you're preparing for the mark. Do you know that reformation without Christ is hypocrisy? And there are a lot of people that say, oh, education reform, dress reform, health reform, diet reform, all these reforms, but they lost the heart reform that will bring everything else. You know, there's so many people, they tell me sometimes, I wonder if this person's a Jesuit. Now, are they Jesuits? Oh, yes, they're a very real entity. They go in and they go in and start integrating themselves and try to do things. But listen to me. If you were to compare how many times Sister White talks about Jesuits to how much she talks about the sanctuary, you know why? You see, many of us are more interested in what the Jesuits are doing than what Jesus is doing in the most holy place. You know, there are men that can show all the errors that the Jesuits have brought into the church, but in their own homes and hearts, they're doing far worse. How in the world can we point our finger at the General Conference and say that it's no longer a part of God's organization because of apostasy, and yet in our own homes we're not living according to the truth? How can we say that they have caused, that they are bringing in paganized Christianity, when in our own televisions, our own music, our own life, we are paganized Christians, having a Christian disguise and a pagan art, a form of godliness without the power? It's paganized Christianity, my friends.
Are we teaching the truth in love, telling it like it is? Are we holding pure motives, showing that we care? Are we teaching the truth?